Okay guys, so here is a kind of quasi-attractor style Baetis that works really good. So just start out with some 0.010 lead, do like 6 wraps with that, not very many wraps, and then break it off. The nature of this fly, you can't do a bunch of lead covering the shank of the hook because it's tied kind of slim. So okay, start some olive thread and cover up your lead with that. Make sure that's secure and bring your thread back to the rear of the hook. Now get some CDL, this is Coq de Leon, and get about 5 fibers of this, or something like that, 5 to 7. Probably I would say err on the side of being a little thick with it rather than too sparse for your tail, which is usually the other way around in fly tying, but I don't think they even see your tail anyway. You know, might just see some olive passing by them and grab it, so might as well, you know, give them a little bit more to look at. So now you are going to tie in some extra small red wire like this. Okay, and you're going to make a dubbing loop with your thread. And there we go. Cool. So make a relatively long dubbing loop. Don't want it to be too short because your whole thorax, or abdomen rather, is made out of this dubbing loop. So now get some light olive hairs here. This is made by Vineyard. And you're going to get a pretty healthy amount of this stuff. And throw it in your dubbing loop like this. So it should look something like that. And twist it. So now you have a pretty good rope like this, but see how there's all these little buggy fibers coming out? First you're going to want to pull everything, all the loose fibers out of here. A lot of times these fibers aren't even caught in the dubbing loop. So once you've done that, get your scissors and just cut all of this long stuff. And that usually takes a second. This is kind of the most tedious part of tying this fly, but it really doesn't look nearly as good if you don't do this. Okay, got one little. These ones that are really close to the hook shank are always the hardest to get. Okay, so it's halfway decent there. So see how it's a lot more, I guess spiky be a good word for it, sleek and short and spiky. So now I'm just gonna wrap this up the body of my fly. Sometimes it'll fall into this little valley right there by your tail and mash your tail down, so be careful not to do that if you can. And make a really level taper. It doesn't need to be tapered very much at all. So that's pretty good. Looks good on my side. And I'm just going to tie this off and clip my dubbing loop off. So it should look right now something like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is counter rib with this red wire, which means that I'm wrapping the opposite way that I dubbed on. And make probably like 5-6 segments or something. Just enough to make that red wire visible. And tie it off. So, should be something like that. And now, this is the final step in the fly, is you are going to make another dubbing loop. This fly is just full of dubbing loops. And add some peacock black. I want a little bit more than that because you want the majority of this collar to be made out of that peacock black. And you can actually probably just tie it with just this peacock black. If you don't have this peacock stuff, like black eye stub would probably work perfectly fine. Okay, Then I'm going to get something to kind of chase that that peacock black with that's pretty buggy. So I'm a squirrel guy, I like squirrel, so I'm going to use that. Here we go, here's a good piece. So just stick some squirrel in like that. So you kind of got 2 stages of dubbing here, and then I'm going to give that a twist. And then I'm going to, this squirrel, you can pick a lot of it out. I want it to be super sparse in the squirrel department. And try to leave as much of that black as you can in there. And then I'm going to give this a wrap, pull it back, wrap it, and pull it back, and repeat that process until I'm all the way through the dubbing loop. Just like that. Perfect. Tie that loop off, make sure it's really secure. And whip finish. And snip it off. And like for example, this collar I think is a little bit too much, so I'll push everything forward and just go around and clip it like that. Make it a little bit shorter. Right, like that. That's how I like it right there. So you can still see that body pretty good, and there's a pretty good collar as well. So that's it. It's a really good little Baetis pattern.